My name is Bettie Xie, and I'm the development manager at the Toronto Real Asian International Film Festival. My background is not in fundraising. I graduated with a degree in cinema studies and Asia Pacific studies from the University of Toronto in 2014. And so I've been working in various film festivals for 4 years now. And after I started working in film festival, I developed interest in fundraising, so took on the role in development and currently working full-time for Real Asian.
Hi, I'm Michelle Yeung. I'm the managing director of the School of Toronto Dance Theatre. I've been in that role for about 7 months. And what I do in my role is I oversee all the administrative part of the organization. Where do I come from? I've spent the last 15 years in the arts, doing basically every single role from producing to marketing to PR. I'm a graduate of the Income Managers Program, so that sort of brings me here. And I do have a specific focus in fundraising as my specialty and my expertise.
Funny enough, it was because Michelle sent me the program. Look, there's this program, maybe you would be interested in joining. And I thought it was such a perfect fit for what we needed at the organization. At the time, our organization were really seeking to increase membership sales. And so I applied for the program and asked Michelle to be my mentor.
At first I was a little bit hesitant because I wasn't sure if I would be the right person, but in having conversations with Bettie and also the process of the interview process for the GERM program, I felt that it was a good fit and that, you know, she can have something to gain and I could also have something to gain from the program.
Michelle has a vast experience in individual giving, as well as brings a lot of experience from arts and specific from the theater world as well. And so I really wanted to learn her experience and her skills about soliciting members, also membership sales, as well as communicating to members and donors. And so those were the areas that I was hoping to improve and also eventually increase the number of members at the organization.
What I really needed in order to support Bettie in her work is that she had to drive the mentorship and tell me exactly the things that she was having challenges with and her ideas, and that we can flesh out those to help support the work that she was trying to do. So I think for me, that goal that Bettie had was actually quite fulfilling in terms of how I am inspired and also motivated. As well, I think Bettie has a very unique opportunity at Real Asian where there is a combination of stakeholders at hand. So you have your donors who are near and far, so your individuals, your board members, and your corporate people. But then you also have your audience members who aren't necessarily being galvanized to become deeper into the organization. And then you have a membership. So there's many different multifaceted approach to earned revenue that I feel was most interesting is that they weren't all talking to each other. And I think those are the things that we really worked on, is how they all link so that there's synergy in the work so that she can move forward and actually increase earned revenue.
I felt that one of my pain points was that, in fact, that a lot of them really love the organization, but they, one, don't see Real Asian as a charitable nonprofit that they can contribute financially, either through donation or buying a membership. Second, they were not talking to each other, or they don't see the message being coherent. And me, I think as a fundraiser, I really needed confidence to communicating to all these different stakeholders, but also bring them together and strengthening the message from the organization.
I think for me, the process was pretty easygoing. I think I sort of set out what my expectations of the mentorship were in terms of what I expected from Bettie, you know, in terms of driving the mentorship and coming forward when she needed help. And I think that allows Bettie to be able to take our conversations and actually go back and see if they can actually be put into action, and then she comes back and says, okay, well that worked, that didn't work, let's talk about it more. But I think for me, what it helped is that I'm not here to tell her what to do, I'm here to support her work.
We agreed that first, in person was most important.
Yeah.
Second, we will not stick to a very rigid schedule. I think on average, we meet every once a month or once every other month.
Yeah.
Something like that. And obviously at her work as well as at my work, things ramps up. So we were very understanding of each other's schedule. Every single time I hit a milestone, be it having new resource for the membership program or the film festival wraps up, I was able to bring some resource to her. And because, like she said, she's a very resource-driven person, it also motivates me to bring hard resource instead of just like going there and talk about my feelings. But there was also a lot of that. I felt that our conversations can be described as candid and honest. I feel very comfortable sharing a lot of information with Michelle, and I know that she respects the organization as well as the career path that I'm still learning and developing. So that was very, very fulfilling. Yeah. One of the first sections that we did, Michelle had asked me to break down a couple of things. One is like looking at the current member and donor pool and look at the history, how many years they have given to the organization, and the reasons that they're given, be it are they more benefit driven or are they more charitable, like philanthropy driven. And that were two things that we never look at organizations. We've been tracking them, but we never really use those insights to inform our strategies for approaching new members. So I came back and just very quickly I was able to post those data, and the resource was really, it was like one of the aha moments for me. And I was like, wow, we never look at this. It's actually really helpful in terms of informing the psychology on the reason that people give and who are the people that we should target. And I brought back those numbers to Michelle, and she also gave like further recommendations on that. Yeah. Our conversation didn't limit to just driving membership sales. It was because a single earned revenue or single line of revenue in an organization inevitably is linked to every single thing else.
Yeah, like an integrated approach to earned revenue, wherever it's coming from.
Yeah. And Michelle is like I think every single section she would tell me, like, don't work in isolation. Like, you have to work with your marketing manager, your executive director, your board. And so inevitably those conversations kind of lead there, how to work with all these different stakeholders in the organizations. Yeah.
I think the only thing that may have changed is that Bettie's so awesome that she kept meeting her goals, so we just kept upping the goals. Yeah.
With Michelle's help. Yeah.
So that's really the only thing, is that, you know, if we're able to, if we see results from the work, then let's try something new and see how far we can push it.
Yeah. The in-person interactions was, I think, was really helpful because of how it is casual and conversation driven. Because then I can bring those resources in a very structured way, but Michelle can also immediately ask, what's next? Like, what are you doing next? Like, are you, now that you've got a new member, are you communicating them in the right way? Things like that. So I think that setting up this in-person coffees is very indispensable part to the success of the mentorship. Yeah. Very close.
Yeah, I think like we're friends, and I totally see Bettie as a colleague, and I would definitely in the future, like, my door is open, so she can always call me, you know, take me out for coffee or lunch, and I'll share all my knowledge. And definitely she would be a colleague that I would reach out to say, you know, just to say, how are things going? And even, hey, we're having this challenge. Are you having a similar challenge? As we said, it's like all the same. We're all in the same place.
We are all very busy. We are all working in arts nonprofit. It's very, very challenging, and sometimes we forget to talk to each other. But I really hope, and that's one of the personal goal, is that like we can stay in touch, and also if given the opportunity to work together. For sure, in terms of my knowledge and my skills for my day job, I feel more confident in approaching a lot of the areas that we're targeting, namely membership sales, communications with members and donors, and as well as overall strategy for development.
In terms of sharing best practices with Bettie, like these are the best practices, these are tried and true things. What it sort of galvanized for me is that yes, we have best practices and we do need to do those because they're tested and tried and true, but we also need to be innovative and we also need to test things out. I would say what worked well for us, I think that we're pretty well matched because we're relatively easygoing people, but also extremely results-oriented people. We like to see results, so I think that's what motivated us. I think what worked really well for us specifically is that we were flexible in the learning process and respectful of each other's time and understanding that this is about building conversation and building a canon of knowledge that will help regardless of where we end up.
Even though I technically chose Michelle to be my mentor, it was not just because, I met her, she seems cool, and let's do the mentorship. Obviously, it was because through our former board chair, I already see this match in skill set, that her skill sets and her knowledge will really benefit my role, but also my role specifically at Viewation. Even within the art sector or the nonprofit sector, there are so many different kinds of professions or fundraisers that have different focus or different background, and had I be matched to a different mentor, I actually don't know how it will go. Even if both of us have good conversation, maybe there would just never be a match.
I think one of the other things that worked really well was that Bettie was also extremely open to her learning, and so I feel that after each of our meetings I would give you some homework.
Yes.
And she would actually do it. So, and she'd report back the next time, be like, I did that thing that you told me to do, and then I tried something new, and it worked.
Yeah.
Or it didn't work, or whatever. And so I think that it's helpful that Bettie was fully invested in the program. And I think also for me, obviously I'm invested as well, but I also had a bit of knowledge about the organization as well. So I was sort of more in the circle, if you think concentric circles in terms of fundraising, I was more of an insider, and I think that also helped benefit because I understood what the challenges were and what they were trying to do. And I mean, obviously that could be cross any arts organization, but I feel that it benefited because I did have a little bit of a deeper knowledge. And so in choosing a mentor, I think there's a different benefit than being matched as well. So it just depends on what the next group is looking for.
So for other potential mentees, I would encourage them highly to do so because a lot of times for arts nonprofits, we lack the resources for hiring a consultant or looking for professional development. This is one of the most cost-efficient and long-term way to build your skills and also bring some kind of consultancy to your organization. So it's beneficial on the individual front, but also organizational front.
Mentorship is extremely important to me as a person, and I'm constantly seeking out mentors for myself in terms of my own professional development. I think it's important for mentors to step up and really share their knowledge because we have a philosophy that we want arts organizations to be sustainable, to be successful. And in order for the future of arts organizations to be sustainable and successful, we actually need to share our knowledge and contribute to the building of the sector. These programs are really important to help the future
me is about collaborative learning. So the word mentorship implies that it's a two-way relationship. And that I hope that Michelle also will walk away from the membership with something that she finds fulfilling. And obviously for the mentee, is benefiting our professional skills as well as not our confidence in conducting our job. And so I think it's about learning together and growing together.
Mentorship is actually bigger. It's about succession planning. Mentorship is like the right thing to do. Like we should be thinking that as everything that we do, whether it's with somebody in a different organization or even like with your own staff. Like you should be thinking about that if you actually want to be a good leader. Do it. Just do it. That's already taken. Yeah.